vuelta y vive. Gotta live, gotta breathe, gotta eat, gotta dar la vuelta y vive.
Bueno, y estamos aquí en el programa Da la Vuelta y Vive y otra vez otra sesión. Estamos aquí presentes hoy en esta hermosa tarde con una figura que para mí es un honor tenerlo aquí con nosotros. It's an honor having him here because when I had heroes, when I was in the music business myself, and I had heroes, he was one of mine. And then I see him now, and he looks younger than me. So thank you so much for being here with me, Gary. We got Mr. Gary Hobbs here with us.
Thank you. Thank you for the kind words. Yeah, it's been a 40-year career, 40 años de trayectoria, and we're still here, gracias a Dios. And I tell everybody that I'm high maintenance. My wife probably takes a couple of minutes to get ready, and I'm about an hour. No, but it's great to be here with you, brother.
I appreciate it, and you know, just
Long time.
jumping right in, and you know, when I know that I was looking at your you have a I don't know what they call it, Wikipedia, or what do they call it, Wikipedia?
Oh yeah, those Wikipedia.
Dude, you have one that's so long, man.
I don't know who feeds all of that. But
I don't know where. Well, and I was going to ask you because, man, they have all your life story there, and we're going to kind of touch a little bit on it.
My phone. Or
So you know, you've been with record labels, Pa Tirar Pa Arriba, aquí, allá, EMI, Sony, Hacienda Records.
that's where
Probably
it
your
started,
first one, right?
Hacienda
That's where it
Records,
started.
yeah.
Un gran amigo. I had the honor of working with him, Brando Mireles.
Yes, mi compadre Brando.
And Brando, and so
Oh, wait, so you're friends with Brando?
yeah.
I don't know whether to pray for you or I don't know. No, Brando and I grew up in high school. So we were the best of friends. We were practically like brothers. So we go way back with Brando. Yeah.
Wow, what an honor. And I tell you, man,
and
that's
he's phenomenal.
Yes,
Phenomenal.
Incredible guy. I mean, and then you play the keyboard as well. So competían ustedes dos.
Not like him, but we both of us, we were in high school. Both of us were in band and choir. We both play trumpet and guitar and keyboards, and we both sing, and so we were just the best of friends for a good while.
Wow. So military brat,
Yes, my dad was in the Air Force.
and then is your mom a singer herself,
Yes.
right? And so you saw this growing up. So how popular was she? Like, was she?
Well, my mom in the area, she was very well known. Cantaba in Eagle Pass, Texas. Cantaba en Piedras Negras, Coahuila. She was on La Rancherita del Aire, like sometimes on a regular basis, a weekly basis, stuff like that. And got to record back then. It was real, but mom sang música trio, mariachi, a little bit of pop. My mom is from the 50s. I won't say her age, but I'm so blessed. She just turned 90. But my mom, when she comes out of high school, my mom told me once that she wanted to go to New York and study opera.
Wow.
And I was like, wow. But so when I was like 6, 7, 8 years old, I saw all the albums, and she did have Jose Alfredo Jimenez, stuff like that, and she did have Sonny Osuna and Don Freddie Martinez, and she did have Elvis and Tom Jones, and she had the Beatles. So my mom was listening to everything, and Los Trios Panchos, and very first song I heard my mom, and Reloj, El Reloj. So Reloj is like, like real tender to me. Pero yeah, my mom sang for several years, but never on a full-time basis. My grandfather was a mechanic, 53 years going Chevrolet, works for Chevrolet, and my mom was a secretary with 25 years with a company, a Hicks Bonder and Salant, and then she spent another 25 years with the school district.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, that's right now, something that caught me that you said, reloj. How time
Yeah.
passes, and the who was Gary Hobbs at the peak 80s, 90s, and who is Gary Hobbs now?
Well, that's probably got a twofold answer, man, because Gary Hobbs has probably always been the same guy trying to improve, right? But when you say who's Gary Hobbs, like the 80s, a struggling, Tejano artist and borrowing cars and just trying to make it happen. And what happens is that you develop mentally, business-wise, where it's a phobia to be late to anything.
Mm-hmm.
And the 90s, Gary becomes a little bit successful and you start selling records and then you start seeing royalty checks and stuff like that, and then sponsorship money comes in. So the landscape changes.
Mm-hmm.
So Gary Hobbs has to change too. Now he's got to take care of a lot more stuff. Who Gary Hobbs is today is someone that still loves to do Tejano music, and I defend it. We could probably spend an hour here just going back and forth and saying that Tejano music isn't what it used to be. Of course, it's got to change.
Mm-hmm. Music
evolves and it changes. But Gary Hobbs today is the same person that from the 80s needs to get there on time and do his job. And at the end of a career, it's going to be, did he take care of business or not? And that's more important to me than accolades.
And that's the thing, Gary, and it's impressive that you say that because, there's a lot of people that don't make it to be able to even answer the question that I just asked. And for that same reason, porque ahorita hace rato me decías that you're nocturnal. You wake up or you go to sleep at 4 or 5 in the morning.
No, more like 5, 6, 7.
5, 6, 7. But that's been your life for many years.
40 years.
Yeah. 40 years no más.
No más.
What impact?
Well, no, living off of this, I'm sorry.
Yeah, living off of it.
Because I've been involved in the music since I was 13 and a half, and playing local bands, and until I was 22, something like that. I decided to go full time at it, and so here I am.
Okay, so you bring that up, and something that I picked up on is tell me about Chicano Breed.
Chicano Breed. So I was like 13 and a half, almost 14, something like that, and by now I'm learning poquito guitarra. I can play a little bit guitar, but just accompanying, and I can play a little bit keyboards and chord structure. But I was practicing and learning classical music for about 6-7 years, so I could read music, and I was playing the trumpet already, and so I already played a little bit of trumpet before I got to junior high. So this is probably when I'm like in 9th grade or something, and some guys show up at the house, and if I wanted to join the band, and so I had never really heard Chicano music. Ellos se llamaban Chicano Breed.
Okay.
There's a particular person there, Guadalupe Lopez, Lupio, and it's funny we're talking about this, but we were just at that Vegas Tejano takeover, and he's there in the audience, and he calls me about an hour before the show. Hey, you better check your sound and your mic because they're hearing feedback and stuff. And so and that night it dawned on me on stage that Lupio, the guy responsible to go pick me up as a teenager, put me in a band, Chicano Breed band, and Lupio, we call him La Güera. Yeah, and La Güera was just there, I was a couple of months, and then he left. And so I said, pues you brought me into it and then you left. But I just saw him I didn't get to see him, but he was in Vegas. But Chicano Breed band was like, there's 12 of us. We had 6 horns, 3 trumpets, alto, tenor, trombone, 2 vocalists, Adán Jimenez, Ricardo Salinas on guitar, Lupio was on bass and vocals, and then Manuel Flores came in. And Oscar G was singing some of the English songs with them.
Mm-hmm.
So, but Oscar had just graduated, and he was going to go to college or something, or working. So Oscar was just there a couple of months. And I was there maybe a year or 2, but that led to other things.
Of course.
Started playing keyboards with a local band and a bunch of local bands throughout. The Chicano Breed band was that's the one that started it all. Yeah, we went on a festival, the San Marcos, and I forgot who else other bands were playing because I didn't know who was in the industry then, ¿verdad? Pero it was my first trip out. I'm 14 years old. I'm driving somebody's station wagon I had never driven before on the highway, and we stayed overnight. And I tell everybody that it was I just saw too many things in one night for a 14-year-old, but it was the music that just hooked me. It hooked me, but so I joined that band, and my influences, I mean, Latin Breed and the Royal Jesters to me are like,
yeah,
those were my influences. So.
Wow. So let me tell you what the internet is saying about Gary Hobbs and who they I guess refer to you as. And I'm gonna ask this. I'm gonna bring this up because I'm gonna ask a question. But so they refer to you as Vince Gill. I don't know if you heard that before or not.
In the first place, Vince Gill is a phenomenal singer, and he's a phenomenal guitar player and songwriter. And if I could be 1/8 of Vince Gill, I'd be in business.
All right. So you know, the evolution of music, and you talked about it a while ago, that the music has to evolve. And so you started Chicano Breed, you have the horns, you have everything, and then, of course, there was the synthesizers come in, and then there's a transition from Chicano music to, I guess, Tejano music. And so Gary Hobbs starts wearing, I imagine at that point you start wearing boots, or you always wore boots?
I always wore boots.
You always wore boots?
Yeah, back then there were Durangos or Laredos, different styles.
Even when you were with Chicano Breed?
Yeah, we wear boots.
Boots?
We wear tuxedos too.
Ah, okay.
Back then, Chicano was like, if it was a formal, we dressed up in tux.
Dressed up tux.
I mean, bow tie and stuff. And
yeah.
We're doing something outdoor or something, everybody would wear jeans or something, or, you know.
So the Tejano in the 90s, it starts moving up. There's you're a songwriter as well. And, you know, tell me about that.
Not like Vince Gill, but... Well, it's funny, the latter part of the 80s, I guess, I've said this before, that I think I like to study the industry, and I'm not too, I don't really look into what they're doing, the good stuff. I try and pick up on the bad stuff, the mistakes, so that I wouldn't do them right. Mm-hmm. But then that led me to start trying to learn the business, and I saw how songwriters and the publishing, all of that was. So I thought, man, I'm going to give it a try. And well, you grow with it, and I think before you know it, something is starting to form into a style, and something becomes Gary Hobbish. Mm-hmm. You know, your style, and it took a transition, I want to say years of trying to find that identity, right? Mm-hmm. And I guess when you start, you're kind of influenced by this guy and that guy, or that band, or this type of music, and then you're doing cover songs, and it's kind of hard to relate it and make it yours. But once you start getting original material, then you're on your own. You need to make it shine, and especially if you're songwriting, and I think that took time and to develop, and so songwriting, 60 plus songs throughout the years that I've written and recorded.
Have you written for anybody else other than?
I wanted to, and mm-hmm. I was going to. I won't say for who, but there's 2-3 songs in the last 8 years mm-hmm. that I was going to sales pitch to somebody, and it never got to that, and so I just kept them. It's not that I'm greedy; it's just that I needed them.
So. You know, we were talking a while ago and about the importance of family, and what I got from you is the closeness that you have to your grandchildren, and it's amazing to me to learn that. I don't know how many grandchildren you said you had.
7.
7
plus 2 that came along with the package. 9 grandchildren.
9 grandchildren. And then you mentioned that there's one in UTSA?
UTSA.
Wow. And Gary Hobbs drops anything for her.
In the dime. I'm there. For any one of them. They know it.
Wow. So how, what impact What impact does the life of Gary Hobbs and the music business have on his family? I mean, you mentioned right now that you wake up or you go to sleep at 4 or 5 or 6, 7, 8. Everybody else is getting up, going to school and stuff. I mean,
my children, when they were just in elementary and stuff like that, their mom, my wife Diana Reina, my wife would tell them, unless the house is burning, you don't wake up your dad, right? And I didn't put into a lot of thinking, but decades later, I realized that unless I sleep a lot before I go work somewhere, I can sing for several hours.
mm-hmm.
I heard we were in Michigan in May with Bobby Pulido, and I had this little conversation with Bobby, and he had met Vicente Fernandez, and I asked him, what did you ask him? You must have asked him. He goes, how he can go for hours and hours, Vicente Fernandez is singing. And he told Bobby that he sleeps a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a lot. He can sleep, just hours, continuous. But that is true. And I found it, that kind of reconfirmed what I had thought, that when I sleep, and I sleep a lot of hours, whether it was, on the road or stuff, or the back of a van, or the bus, the RV, whatever we've had, and it does help me. So my life is nocturnal, but my kids knew not to wake me up, but they're very normal. They're normal people. I have 2 grown-up children and 7 grandkids, and 2 that came along, so 9 grandkids. But
so you have two children, and their names?
Gary Lee and Kimberly.
Yes, the third, right? The third, and Gary is how old?
Gary Lee's got to be 39 or something.
39.
And Mika 36. They were both born on the same date, October 15th, but 3 years apart. And if that's not a ticket, my grandson, the youngest one, he was born on October 15th. There's something about October 15th in our family, but
so I wanna understand the type of life. So and I know that Diana, your wife, right, probably took on a very, very strong role as being the parent at home.
all hats.
Yeah. So all hats came on board.
Everything
The
except singing.
heartbreaks,
She
the
makes me-
games, the whatever. She had to be the one to do it
Oh,
alone.
yeah.
What? How did y'all work that out, man? I mean, it's
I'll tell you where it's that. It's just God's grace.
uh-huh.
God's grace and a strong foundation from our parents, our grandparents, her parents, high school sweethearts and teenage sweethearts. Diana and I are high school sweethearts.
Wow.
Now I was raised without a father, but I had my grandfather, my grandmother, and my mom all rolled into one, and living with them. So to us, family was important, right? And I think the foundation is there, and what a blessing that my wife let me go out and try and live the dream. Then, I never wanted to be a country singer. I love country, but I didn't want to be a country singer. I couldn't tell you that I would bomb out, or I would have at least made the top 500 millionth singer. But country wasn't. It was Tejano. It was Chicano. And
Let's take a little break here, and then I'm gonna come back, and we're gonna talk about the new release.
sure.
All right. Bueno, y continuamos, y pues tenemos que dar las gracias a Extra, ya sabes, esa billetera que cambia todo. ¿Por qué quieres traer una billetera como esta? Así grandotota. Why you want to have this when you can have Extra? Look at this. I mean, come on. You can't compare it, okay? And this is what I like about this. Whatever, it's just what you need. You don't have to be carrying everything. It's just what you need. All right. So, Exter, thank you so much. En esto, ¿para qué quieres? Vas a traer, I got my birth certificate and this, ¿para qué? Eso lo tengo que tener guardado. Right? So, Exter, thank you so much for taking care of Da La Vuelta y Vive. And we are back with Gary Hobbs. And Gary, right now, right before we went to break, we were talking a little bit about the impact that the music life had on your family. And by the grace of God, you and your family have, lasted, how many years have you been married, Gary?
I've been married 46 years.
46 years.
Well, 43, but I say 6 because 3 años de novios. Married 43 y 3 años de high school sweetheart. So 46 years with my wife.
Te conoció como músico y sigue siendo músico.
She thought she was going to go to all the dances and be dancing with me.
No?
I'm still apologizing for that one.
Continúa, Gary. Hablamos también de toda la trayectoria. You went through so many different labels. And now you're with Freddie Records, the home of Tejano, pretty much. And so this is, I believe, your second album.
This is our first CD.
First CD.
Freddie Records.
With Freddie Records. Okay.
Sin Fin. Gary Hobbs, Sin Fin.
Sin Fin. Tell us a little bit about Sin Fin and how do you collaborate to? I know you sing through it, but do you have any songs that belong to you here on this?
I may have written like 6, maybe 5, 6.
Oh, well, pues casi nada, ¿verdad?
But everything handpicked. And I've been blessed that I've been at places where I can handpick our stuff, and I see something and I think I can do the Gary Hobbs thing, then we do it. Several songs that I wrote, just little pieces of my life here and there, and an example, Te Juré. If you hear Te Juré, if you hear Sin Fin, some of the lyrics, it's downright at home, right? But all the other songs, I mean, the 6, 7 rancheras, stuff like that, a couple of cumbias, and then a ballad song, and then a collaboration with Freddie Martinez Sr., which the moment I heard the song, I knew was out of the box for me. Mm-hmm. But it created the challenge, right? But I didn't want to go through that challenge, that song, so I turned around to Freddie Martinez Jr. and I said, Freddie, I think your father would collaborate with me on this one. Mm-hmm. Because I'm sure he'd love it. And so he talked to him, and the next thing, Don Freddie's in the studio, and I kid you not, he goes into the studio, I get a phone call, and I really have to answer to just tell him that I'll call him right back. And I go into the hall, and I thought, I'm going to have time to go to the restroom and come back. And by the time I came back, Don Freddie had done his vocal track. I mean, like that, or like a one-take thing.
Wow. Yeah.
But it is a song that was written by Don Freddie Martinez Sr. and Borrón y Cuenta Nueva. And that's a song that we're looking forward to do a collaboration on a video too. So you heard it first here. Okay. But Sin Fin is definitely Tejano music. It's retro but new sounds. It is Gary Hobbs. It is Tejano. It's got that 102 beat stuff, and I just can't get away from Tejano rancheras. And I get it. People say that it's passé, but I beg to differ. And
there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people out there, and really, la música es música. Lo hablábamos con Lucky la última vez cuando estuvo aquí con nosotros. We talked about, I kind of felt, and I'm not, I can't ask you the same question because you've been doing Tejano, and you say that's where you stand. So la pregunta que le hacía yo a Lucky, le digo yo, you kind of make it seem like you're being apologetic, and there's really nothing to be apologetic about. La música es la música. Y le digo, si no fuera por la música, no estuviéramos aquí ni tú ni yo. Porque la música es amor, es romance, es puras cosas buenas. And so, cuando tú entras al estudio, what are your motivations? What are your what do you think about when you're in the studio? What gives you the strength and the ¿cómo te puedo explicar? Pues el sentimiento para cantar como cantas, para escribir como escribes. ¿Qué es lo que?
I think it's that a lot of preliminary work is done. By the time we get into the studio, we've written the song, we finished. We may tweak a word, a melody. We may, when you have input and all the resource like what we do, I mean, it's easy to change something on the fly. Pero the concept is already there for each song, right? And so getting into the mood, there's things that I do sometimes, things that I picked up from I was telling you that my mom was a singer, and my mom, like an hour before, she would start humming. She's getting ready, and I'm playing with whatever, or a football or whatever, or I may have had some G.I. Joes, I don't know, some wrestlers. Pero my mom would take me to these bodas and quinceañeras and stuff like that, or the radio show, and she'd sit me in the back, it's a true story, and piece of cake and Coke, and I tell everybody that's why I'm so fat. But my mom, an hour before, she's humming, 30 minutes, 20 minutes before, I still smell her perfume.
Wow.
And she starts singing now. Now she's not humming, now she's singing.
Uh-huh.
And I do the very same repertoire. About an hour before I'm concentrating the show, I'm starting to hum. But 30 minutes before, I'm a cologne guy, a lot of cologne. And about 15 minutes before, I'm starting to sing lyrics and attacking what I need to sing that night. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I just sense a lot of emotion when and the way you say it almost seems like the preparation for coming out on a show or doing a record for you is the highlight of what you're doing.
Well,
it almost seems like that.
Being in a studio like at Freddie's or performing at a place where we only have 50 people, or it's a festival with thousands of people, it's the same nerves for me. Mm-hmm. It's the same preparation. It's the same. First 30 seconds are nerve-wracking, and then it's now it's time to go to work, right? And same stuff. So to me, it's same preparation.
So I was going to ask you, and right before you even started talking about the preparation and how your mom prepared, in all your career and all the time that you've sang, have you done anything to either honor your mom or,
Sure.
because you mentioned reloj when we started. I mean, something like that, emotional like that takes you back.
I always wanted to go back and look for reels, but our key signatures are different, my mom and I. But I took all those songs that my mom used to sing and I turned them into Tejano rancheras and dedicated to her, Recuerdos de mi Madre. And I wish I had been able to sing something with her, but our keys. Little thing that a lot of people don't know is that I've been singing my whole career like an octave higher than, I'm really like a bass singer. Mm-hmm. But not too many people are gonna buy records. So everything that I sing on a record, I can sing it an octave lower, mm-hmm. not higher, not the Bee Gees stuff, but mm-hmm. and I'm not, I can't really sing hardly anything in falsetto.
You want to know what the internet says about your singing?
No.
You're a baritone.
No, I'm really a bass singer.
Well, the internet says you're a baritone.
Yeah, but the internet.
We need to fix it, eh?
Yeah, I don't know who did all that.
But that's cool. I mean, they call you Vince Gill también. I mean,
I'll take that as a compliment. But
mira, to me, it's incredible to have somebody that displays the humility that you brought to this show. I can tell you it now from being an honor is just, I mean, it's something that I know my son and I will remember, because for us it was a blessing, and it has been a blessing to have you here with us on
Likewise,
our
brother.
show.
Likewise.
Seriously. I know my dad's gonna be ecstatic when I show him the video,
Yes.
and
Say
he
hi.
sees that you were here with me.
You say hi to him.
Para mí, trabajar, y ahora tener la oportunidad de trabajar con personas como tú, and have you here in our show, pues es just, como te digo, increíble, increíble. Let's look at this and this new CD that's coming out, or it already came out.
It's out on all digital platforms. It's all
That's crazy, no? Now you say it's all on digital platforms.
well. It's basically everywhere and anywhere it wants to be.
Wherever it wants to be, it's gonna be, and then we expect a video.
Well, we've thrown out 2 singles. The new single just came out, Te Juré. We threw out a single, Quedaría. Both of them have videos as we speak. Freddie Records TV on YouTube. You can tune in and see those videos. And so Quedaría was the first one, cumbia, kind of modern stuff. And Te Juré is Tejano to the core. And but they're on Freddie Records TV on YouTube, and already starting to work on a 3rd video. So 2-3 weeks. So I need to lose some of this mid-ridge bulge in a couple of weeks, but we've been doing really well. Want to thank everybody that's been spinning it, people that have been buying it, looking in on it on YouTube and stuff like that. We thank all our Tejano music family and friends. They're everywhere really, and we owe everything to them. We're grateful.
Voy a terminar con esto, and I think that it's something that. And I hate to say it like this, but it's something that you owe the up and coming artists. And what I believe is that people should hear what you have to say, because llegar a donde has llegado, Gary, and I know you're very modest, but to get to where you're at, and your demeanor and how you talk about your family and all of that, I can see how hard it's been to get to that point. You say it's been easy because of the grace, but I mean, let's face it. I mean, to get where you're at, se toma mucha disciplina. What message? I mean, because right now we've seen what they call Tejano groups, Tejano artists that have. Now you don't really measure it so much in the sales of albums, but you measure them in likes or views on social media. There's Tejano artists out there that have surpassed the amount of views. I mean, we're talking, I think some in the billions. There was recently a band out of Edinburgh that got a Grammy within a few months of coming out on social media.
Good for them.
Yes. And so, while it's good for them, what does Gary Hobbs has to say to those kids, those guys? I mean, they're young kids.
Well, there's just too much good advice that you could give them.
Mm-hmm.
Like I look at young bands, and I don't have a lot of time to study them, but I can picture out what they're doing wrong, or hey, did they get there late?
Mm-hmm.
Did they come up with all the excuses from A to Z because they're late? And but I even get, I see a young artist, and whether it's a male or female, and they have a different look like every week, and I'm trying to think like a label that you got to set up an identity and face recognition. And I think once you're worry about the music, be true to yourself with the music. Don't go with the flow. Just go with your heart, with what you like, because that's gonna really carry you over years, not fads, not months. Not be true to your heart. If this, that doesn't mean you started off in this genre and then you want to take it to another genre and mix it up. Well, make sure that your heart is the right place, and make sure you do your homework first and get to first base and come around the bases, sports metaphor, but be sure you score, before you start going into other things, just be true to your heart, but learn the business. You got to learn the business. God bless. I hope you have a banker, an accountant, and an attorney backing you up. There you go. Go look for them.
A priest, a spiritual guide, and of course,
Well, God comes first. God comes first.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Gary, like I said, it's been a pleasure having you here. I know you have other engagements, and for me, like I said, a blessing for my son, and thank you so much for being here. Damos las gracias a Gary Hobbs y damos las gracias por que nos acompañas aquí en Da la Vuelta y Vive. Muchas gracias, que Dios te bendiga.
God bless.
God bless you. God bless you.
Thank you.